Welcome, and thank you for joining us virtually to hear from the amazing women of Anabeth JPEG, Smiles and Pearls, Kendall Rayburn, and Hello Stephanie Nicole. We hope that you're healthy, and we thank you for staying home and tuning in with us. My name is Kalia, beauty editor of the Zoe Report, where I also cover plus-size fashion. It's always been such a passion of mine, which is why tonight is such an honor for me. LIKEtoKNOW.it is partnering with their community to recruit and expand their network of influencers, tastemakers, creators, and stylists. Anabeth, Candice, Kendall, and Stefani, as our Curves community panel, are here this evening to share their unique stories with you and to inspire you to turn influencing into a viable career. These four women each began their journey in the influencer world independently and have all achieved success in their own way. Their paths crossed in 2019, and they decided to come together to start creating celebratory and supportive body-positive content together. During the panel, please feel free to submit any questions you have via the Q&A function, as we will be able to answer a few questions live at the end. So without further ado, please give a warm welcome to Anabeth, Candice, Kendall, and Stefani. Hey, ladies.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, let's get started.
Yay.
So tell me about your backgrounds and how you got into the influencer space as Curve influencers. What were each of you doing when you first became content creators? Let's start with Anabeth.
Yeah, thanks, Clea. Hi, everybody. So my journey began in about December of 2017. I started intentionally designing and prioritizing my Instagram. More than just pictures with friends, it became something I really had a passion for. And then I applied for Reward Style, aka LIKEtoKNOW.it, in March of 2018 and started my blog that summer, which is a little backwards for some, but it worked for me. Always do what works for you. That's what will make this work in the long run. At the time, I was just a few years into my job in marketing and graphic design, turning my internship into a full-time job and really, really loving it. But I'm one of those gals that always seems to want to do 7 things at once. So I was looking at ways to be creative in addition to my corporate setting. And bringing color and design to social media seemed to be the perfect creative outlet for that. I've always loved color and fun patterns. It's a way to show your personality with someone you just met or just found on social media in this case. Like most of us, I got the, "That's so cute, where'd you get it?" question, and that naturally fits with LIKEtoKNOW.it, a platform created to share the answer to that exact question. We as a community instantly became each other's stylish BFFs and are able to get style advice through direct messages, swipe ups, and all that. I really love it.
Candice, want to chime in?
Yeah, sure. Hey, y'all. So I began sharing my life on Instagram and on Instagram stories, I guess back in early 2017. I wanted a space outside of Facebook, which they're now both the same, but it's a different vibe, that I could express like my likes, my passions in a more like creative way. And so since fashion has always been a part of my life, I quickly began sharing, fashion, with my community. And then soon I began receiving DMs like, where did you get that skirt? Or I really like your dress. Where can I find it? And I think that women really resonated with, seeing a body that looked like theirs in media. And that they can see an outfit on me and say like, oh, wow, like her body looks like mine. I can wear that too. So in September 2017, Smiles and Pearls was born. And it's not just all fashion here. I also speak on living life with positivity and having a grateful heart. And that's really important to me. I try to be really intentional with and practice mindful positivity. And I try to be as positive as possible in my everyday life, but of course on Instagram as well. I think my making lemonade out of women's approach to life is one of the reasons that a lot of my audience just kind of resonates with me, and I have a large community on the platform. So I love smiling, I love making other people smile, and hopefully encouraging them to do the same.
You definitely do, girl.
Yeah, she does. She smiles all the time.
I think it's my favorite.
It's my favorite. I started my blog back in 2009 when I was attending college up in northern Michigan. We lived in a really, really small town. There wasn't a lot to do. The movie theater closed at 4 o'clock. And I've always been really passionate about writing. I've always kept journals since I was younger. So I decided to start a blog as an outlet. When I first started, I did like a whole bunch of crafting stuff and like DIY furniture, revamping projects. As my audience grew and my blog grew, and as time went on, I had newer, harder things enter my life. Things like getting diagnosed with endometriosis, living with chronic illness, parenting a son with autism, and then just the journey of like finding myself and loving myself. And I've shared openly with my audience this whole time. So it's kind of cool to look back now, because from the get-go beginning, they were just always there with me, like walking beside me. So it's pretty cool.
Stefani?
Yeah, so like the other three girls, Kendall's kind of the long haul blogger here, but I started in 2017 as well in September, and I wanted to create a space where women of all sizes, ethnicities could come and feel like they have a spot at my table. Body image is, I think, something that every woman, no matter their life, struggles with at some point. And I wanted people to feel loved and celebrated no matter where they were at in their body love journey. My husband helped me create Hello, Stefani Nicole, and it's something that's kind of evolved over time, but the reason why I started is still why I'm passionate. I want people to love who they are and be comfortable, in their own skin.
Love it.
Good message. So important. So let's talk about how this power quartet became to be. Like, you all began your influencer paths individually as curve influencers, but after meeting at Fashion Week last year, you decided to come together and create supportive and celebratory content together. Candice, can you give us background as to how you guys first met?
Yeah, sure. So I went to New York Fashion Week already knowing Anabeth. We had actually traveled a couple months prior in June, and we met in Mexico for the first time. So I know it was like really crazy, but we're both like Enneagram 7, so we were down with it. We both took a leap of faith on each other, and I was already nervous to meet Kendall and Stefani because I thought like, well, I took this leap of faith once and it worked, but I don't know if it could happen twice. Like that seems like, that seems too much. Like I was asking too much. And it's just really hard to maintain friendships as an adult. So the entire time prior to meeting them, I thought like, okay, I'm going to have this positive mindset. Like I'm going into it, but I'm also trying to be realistic and like not get my hopes up too much of this like magical kind of, connection. But when y'all, like it was so fate. Like, I mean, I cannot tell you how easy conversation between Kendall and Stefani was. Both Anabeth and I felt their kindness. We all shared our struggles, and we like immediately bonded. And so that's when I knew, like, I just hit the friendship jackpot.
I love that. And like, if anybody has been to New York Fashion Week, you know how intimidating that it can be, like backstage, front of house, even walking up to Spring Studios. So the fact that you guys were able to generate a friendship organically, like that's awesome. Can you tell us your perspective about how everything clicked and made magic?
Yeah, of course. So for me, I felt it happened like as soon as we met at Fashion Week. I had registered for a conference that was during Fashion Week that I wanted to attend really, really badly, but I didn't know anybody that was going. And I'd followed Stefani. This is before, Stefani and I had only met and connected like just a few months before we met Anabeth and Candice. And that all came with me sliding into her DMs, trying to convince her to room with me, a person she had never met before, and share a bunk bed with me in New York, which she said yes, surprisingly. And yeah, we just hit it off right off the bat. Anabeth and Candice were also on that trip. And I felt like we just had this like level of understanding. We just got each other from the very beginning. I feel like people enter your life for a reason. And I think that these girls were brought to me at that specific time because I really needed them. I didn't have like a plus size girl gang in the influencer space as badly as I wanted one. So when I met these girls and I saw their hearts and who they were as people and how they supported the plus size community, endlessly without even expecting anything in return. I knew that they were my people, and I am like just super thankful for the sisterhood that like I now have with them. They're amazing people.
Right back at y'all.
I'm the number 2 of the group. Enneagram number 2 here. People humble. So
I love that. So Like to Know It was created to both help you power your influencer business and provide consumers the answer to the question they're always asking, which is, where'd you get that? So how have you all seen that translate into your businesses today? Candice, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, so I've definitely seen Like to Know It being used more and more as a resource and an answer to the question, like, where did you get that? Now that I'm, where did you find that on the Like to Know It app? Or, you know, I feel like it further creates that bond and friendship between my audience as well. And they trust me when I say something or, you know, give them accessory details. They know that they're always going to be able to find that resource through the app. So that allows us to like further become like virtual BFFs.
for me, the more I utilize Like to Know It, the more I see like the ability it has to be a very powerful and useful tool for my business and my audience. As you mentioned, we are constantly getting the question like, where do you buy this? So having something that I can refer them to that's very easily shoppable has been really, really helpful. And I find that it's one of those things, the more you use it, the more you're going to get out of it.
Yeah, 100%. The Like to Know It app is the simplest way to share with your online BFFs. I mean, that's the best way to put it. We as women are the absolute best at sharing with our friends where we got things, and it's allowed to connect us to women everywhere that span all across the world to be our virtual BFFs. And I love this platform. It allows me to easily share where I bought something. And, you know, as they say, sharing is truly caring. So it's a great tool.
Totally agree, Steph. The way I use it, and I see a lot of women use it, these three among me, Like to Know It is so organic. It's truly the digital form of asking your stylish best friend where she got that cute skirt or fun pattern dress or new hat that became her instant favorite, right? It translates for my business by being an easy platform for users to navigate and find my full outfit in all one place, and then other things that look like it. This has really simplified even the initial answer that I would give of I got it at X store, and goes even further by continuing the sentence into, and here's the exact link to get it, which is so, so helpful for my audience.
Such a game changer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So this first part of the question is for Anabeth, Candice, and Stefani. In addition to content creating as a side hustle, you all are still working full-time jobs. So can you tell us how you find the balance between your part-time passions and your full-time careers? Stefani, do you want to start off?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do have another full-time job. I work in the front office at a dental office, and I do their marketing, scheduling, billing. I am kind of a jack of all trades there. I do work as a content creator for the rest of my time, but I think of it not really as a part-time job. It really is a full-time job, and it is one of my passions. So I don't mind putting every extra minute into it. My husband and I decided early on that with balance between our full-time jobs, our relationship, and the blog, that setting boundaries was going to be the key to our success. And so we just set up boundaries that worked for us. And that's kind of how we're managing it. We reevaluate every once in a while and kind of figure out, okay, what's working, what's not working, and then, you know, move forward from there. But boundaries is like the key for us.
Love that.
I totally agree. So I also have a full-time job. I'm an in-house graphic designer and brand creative. I work in the brand and communications team for a consulting firm here in Dallas. It's seriously so fun to see how I can flex these creative muscles in kind of a corporate professional setting. And then after work, I love going on the opposite end of the creative scale to see what I do as an influencer. You know how they say you're an extrovert or introvert depending on where you get your energy? Either from being around others or being by yourself can fill your cup up. Well, I feel like as a creative, as an influencer, gives me energy. I really enjoy photo shoots, editing photos, meeting new people like you guys, collaborating with others. It's all so fun for me. It's become the best passion project I've ever started. I'm excited to see where it takes me next.
To the moon.
And then
Maybe to the stars. Sorry.
it's okay. And then I'm actually in human resources on the benefit side. So in my everyday job, I help people navigate some of the hard decisions or different experiences they've had in their life, like, you know, from the birth of a child to maybe the loss of a loved one. I'm there on the benefit side to help them navigate through that with, you know, and how that integrates to their work and what they do. And so much of that, I think, and relationships goes into what I do as a blogger too. I find relationships really important to me. So building those relationships and cultivating that community through my blog, through the Instagram platform, through the LIKEtoKNOW.it app is something that's really, really important to me. And I feel like it fuels, you know, not only in my work sense, but I think it feels, you know, me being a blogger as well, just kind of like heightens that passion for me. So
let's pivot a little bit and talk about full-time content creation. Kendall, I understand that you are full-time with content creation. Can you tell us when and how your influencer business went from being a creative outlet to a viable career?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I'm a full-time content creator. I've been full-time for a few years now. About 3 years ago, my husband was able to leave his job to help work for me at home. Being a content creator has given me like so much flexibility in my life. Whether it be like on a day that I'm not feeling well, because like, as I mentioned, like I deal with I'm in pain constantly. So I have to take breaks throughout my day. I could never work a 9-to-5 job. Like I've tried, it's just not physically doable for me. And then at the same time, like back when I had first made the leap, my son was doing like a whole bunch of services for autism. So we needed that flexibility in our schedule. And I love now that like I don't ever have to choose between work and my kids or work and my health. I can like wake up and make that decision for myself every day, which I really enjoy. But it took me about, I would say 5 years before my business was even profitable. But this was back before Pinterest. This was back before Instagram. This was in the Stone Ages where everything was learned on Google. So I spent a lot of time on Google figuring things out. But how this is different is it's unlike any other job I've ever had. And I've had a lot of jobs. I just enjoy making the community better, communicating with my readers. But it's definitely not a job for everyone. It takes a lot of hard work to get to the point of making any kind of income. Before I made the leap to going full-time, I worked in social media. So I feel like having that experience like on the back burner has really helped me a lot. It's helped me communicate with brands and other influencers, and just beneficial as a content creator. And I feel like oftentimes the other side of the coin isn't seen by bloggers and influencers. They don't know 100% what brands are looking for or agencies are looking for. So I feel like that's kind of a step up that I had and knew how to develop. But yeah, I would 100% encourage anybody that is wanting to make it a career just to go for it. Like you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe and just go for it.
I believe.
I believe.
And in that same vein, what advice would you give to someone who's interested in turning their love for storytelling and content creation into a successful business or a brand or a career? And is there anything that you wish that you had known when you started out? Stephanie, let's start with you.
Yeah, so I think the best advice that I ever received personally when I first started from a creative that I looked up to, I reached out and I, asked her like, what's something that you wish you knew? And she said something that someone had said to me was never quit. Mm-hmm. You'll look back in 10 years and, maybe one person that started with you is going to be still blogging. Mm-hmm. And if being a creative is something that you're passionate about and you have a story to tell, there is a space for you. Like, I can't stress that enough. That's the beauty of being online. There's literally there's enough jobs in this industry for all of us to succeed. And another important thing to remember is that setting goals for yourself in this industry is important. It really is. But don't ever compare yourself to other creatives. There truly is room for all of us to win. And that's what I really love about this industry. That's what I love about you know, my friends here, we support each other. We celebrate our wins. And that's like the biggest advice I could give you is to never quit.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think, you know, not comparing yourself to others, I want to jump off of that and say, don't try to mimic someone else either. You'll definitely have those bloggers you admire, and that's a great thing, but make sure you find what makes you unique and what you love about yourself. Others will see the way you talk about that thing that you really love, and it will shine and show how you tell that narrative. For instance, because I'm a graphic designer, anytime my love for design and visuals overlap into my social media presence, people really love it. A few years ago, I started implementing an outfit color palette. You might see how much I love color palettes from my Pantones here. And creating posts based on the color palette of my outfit, and people really loved it. In short, I uncovered something that made me unique and that I really love doing, and that worked to set my brand apart.
Candice?
And then I think for me, I have 3 tips that I learned really early. I have 3 tips that I learned early on that helped me in building a successful business. And those are, 1, to collaborate with other influencers. You need to be authentic. And then you need to just always keep learning. So I think in the beginning, all you want to do as a creator is collaborate with others. But as you grow and you find your voice, oftentimes collaborating with others just kind of gets left in the background because, you know, oh, I've grown and now I don't need to like, you know, communicate with other bloggers or try to, you know, share, you know, each other because I'm big time now, right? But in that same respect, like collaborating with like Anabeth and Candice and Stefani has created this like amazing friendship and bond that like I would have never had otherwise if I hadn't have been open to collaborating with them, you know, or, you know, introducing this friendship with them. And then the second part of that is to just kind of like be authentic, you know, be true to yourself and what your mission and your values are. And then, you know, aligning yourself with people that have those same missions and values. People really want to know like the real you know, like don't, you know, so many people when I meet them in person, they're like, oh my gosh, you're exactly how you are like online. And I'm like, you know, it kind of wakes me out because I'm like, well, how else am I supposed to be? Like, am I supposed to be some like, I don't know, like, but then I get the feedback, you know, so many people are so different, you know, in person than they are online. So you always want to be yourself. You want to be you. And then, you know, always keep learning. You know, if you don't know a lot about Pinterest, you know, take a Pinterest class or there's tons of resources online that you can just like Google, you know, spend your free time honing your craft. Like if this is what you want to do as a side hustle, if this is what you want to do full time, like learn about it, learn about Pinterest, learn about SEO, like learn about building a you know, a blog that looks aesthetically pleasing, learn about taking better photos, like, you know, lighting, you know, light, you always hear lighting being key or content is king, like learn about those things. And like, you know, if this is truly your passion, like go for it, you know?
Yeah, that's something that I totally agree with, is like, you have to continue learning.
Yeah.
Like I've been doing it for 10 years and I'm learning new stuff all the time because social media changes all the time. Like, so you're always having to be constantly on top of that ball. For me, I felt like I wish I would have started collaborating with other people at the very beginning. Like I think we all have experienced some kind of imposter syndrome at some time. And I feel like I really had that in my head at the beginning, and I only wanted to share stuff that I thought other people would want to see. But like, it's not about that. You know, obviously you're serving your community, but you also have to show your passion and what you're passionate about, and the things that I'm passionate about, you know, might not fit with somebody else. But I feel like when you collaborate with other creatives, you can really, really make magic. It's such a rewarding experience collaborating with all of these girls. Being able to like lift up and inspire each other has been really cool. One of my favorite parts about being a content creator is getting to dream up different ways to promote my business and sponsors that I work with in an authentic way. And I always want to try to be really relatable. And again, authentically yourself. It's really easy to be, or to try to be, what everybody else wants you to or what everyone else wants to see. It's a lot harder to show up and be yourself and to show your flaws openly. That's important too.
Really good insight. So as I'm sure you all know, influencing is all about representation of your community, sharing who you are, and educating the people in your network and beyond. As influencers, is there anything you've learned or reflected upon over these last few weeks that you'd like to share with your communities tonight? Candice, let's start with you.
Sure. So lately I've seen a lot of people joining arms and really just standing up for what we all believe is right. Influencers don't just have that power though, we all do. So every human should be using their voice to share their stories. I mean, as a body positive content creator, it's important for me to show up for not only bodies that look like me, but bodies of all shapes and sizes. I share my story on a daily basis on my platform in hopes to normalize larger bodies and to show that bodies of all shapes and sizes are really different, but all beautiful. And, you know, being Latina, I've always had a very racially diverse feed. However, over the past the last few weeks, I've also begun diversifying my feed in a different way. So I now follow writers and, you know, different positive speakers or social justice warriors. Whereas before, maybe I would have just followed like, you know, other fashion influencers or maybe lifestyle influencers. You know, there's a lot of different creative people out there that I just didn't follow previously that I'm now like being introduced to. Within the last few weeks, and I've just been really, you know, really enjoying it. And it's kind of opened my eyes and become a lot, you know, very refreshing and educational. And just like I'm hoping to inspire others are inspiring me as well. And that's just, you know, kind of the world that I want to live in.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like when I found the body positivity community, I knew that was like my place. I had found my people. And I knew it was something I wanted to be a part of. I saw it and I was just like, wow, like this really resonates with me. And I really wanted that for every single woman I ever came in contact with. I wanted women of all sizes, ethnicities, you know, to be comfortable in their own skin and to really feel included. Like they had a place that they could sit at our table. Like I've said that a couple times, but I truly I feel that. And when I say that, I get choked up because I feel like there's not a lot of places where we can all come together and feel heard and seen. And that was like one of my biggest hopes, is to create a space where when women came to my page, no matter their size, that they could look at me and know that I knew their struggle too. And we could come together and, you know, feast and, you know, be together and be one. And that's really what, you know, this is all about, is creating a community that's beyond ourselves, you know, beyond like the small impact, we're making a bigger change. And so, yeah.
I agree with Steph. I love that. I think that's something that I instantly bonded with all of you about, is that we all have accounts that want to bring people to the table, to create and build a chair if they don't have a seat at the table and that kind of thing. So I hope each of you that have joined us today are following the four of us, but I hope that right next to us on your feed is a Black woman, an Asian woman, a Latina woman. This matters. These voices matter, and that we continue to see them, hear them, and listen to them. It's similar to what each of us preach about following and engaging with the Curve community, and how our engagement with this kind of content really means something when it comes to the business side of things. You, as a consumer, can show big brands and stakeholders that this community should get representation. You have that power, and so does your audience. And that's really, really cool, y'all. I think these past few weeks have shown me the absolute strength and diversity. I try my best each time I'm on social media to share that and include others' voices in the influence I have.
Yeah, I saw Candice. She was like doing some kind of
girl
thing over there. I was like, yes, girl.
And I'm gonna stop my soapbox now. I'll let you go.
I think like now more than ever, we have the ability to use our voices to impact change, anything from racial injustice to equal rights for all. There are just so many different things that you can be vocal about. And I want to make sure that I'm using my platform to the best of my ability to help lend a voice to the voiceless, and to try to push some of those voices up. I do this with my chronic illness community, and I can't wait to expand beyond that this year and support more different groups. I'm all about inclusivity. I want my platform to reflect that. And next, I really would love to see, more people with chronic illnesses, more people that live with that daily, embraced by brands as well.
Absolutely. So powerful. Yeah. So on that note, we want everyone tuning in to apply to become an influencer if they haven't already, so that they too can embrace that influence and embrace their communities as well. Can you all tell us how this helps your hopes of growing the Curves influencer community specifically, and why that's more important than ever before? Anabeth, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Clea. The more people I can help and individuals, creating goals, meeting them, exceeding them, and building a community around that is everything I could hope for. Seeing and hearing women tell me, I never knew I could do this. I can't tell you how many DMs I get, y'all, of you guys not thinking you can even reach the next step. And I just want to be all your cheerleaders. So knowing that I had even a smallest impact is the main reason I do any of this, helping you guys. It's so satisfying to know that helping others join, get familiar with, and utilize this platform can help them kickstart their goals is just my dream.
Yeah, same. And I strongly believe that the more we start seeing all types of bodies, the more we'll be able to normalize all bodies. When when I open the LIKEtoKNOW.it app, I want to see women that look like me, of course, but I also want to see, women that look like Anabeth, and women that look like Kendall, and women that are, Stefani's size and Clea, your size. And as a plus size woman, who also follows curve influencers, I also want, to see where I can get the latest trends and items from my favorite influencers as well. So, as a consumer, I think it's just such a valuable resource that we have. And, why not be a part of that change and, help expand the curve community by joining the LIKEtoKNOW.it app?
Absolutely. There is space for everyone, right?
Yes,
if you have a story to tell, if you're passionate about being a creator, this seriously is the place for you. Joining this platform will allow us to connect and help each other on our journey to inclusion. Visibility, growth, there really truly is strength in numbers, and it's a dream of mine to see women everywhere turning their passions into a career that they can help and support and lift those around them, but also support and lift their families. And then in turn, teaching our younger generations that they can be and do anything they put their mind to, which I think is the most important thing.
Yeah, that's so important.
Yeah. I love that. Honestly, the more curvy bodies, the better. Every time there's a new curvy influencer that enters the online space, there's more visibility for bigger bodies. And there's been a huge shift in the last year of consumers demanding more options for plus size. I think it's only natural for marketing goals and brand messaging to follow suit. And although I believe that curvy bodies should have been welcome to the party from the get-go, it's amazing that now we are included, celebrated. Most importantly, we feel welcome. I just want to show women that they can make a difference, that they are valued, and that having the tools from someone like Reward Style can help me amplify this message. And something that I also wanted to throw out there that the four of us have really been working on is creating a Facebook group for LIKEtoKNOW.it Curves.
Yay!
Guys, 14 plus, bigger bodies, one space where we can all learn from each other. The four of us, we're so passionate about this, and we didn't want to just have the webinar, introduce ourselves to people, and then have them have nowhere else to go. So I highly encourage you to search for the group. It's hashtag LTK Curve on Facebook. Request to join us. We're going to be sharing so much more there beyond this webinar, but I just wanted to highlight that. Find us on Facebook. Yeah.
Make sure to fill out the questions.
And all the questions need to be filled out, y'all. All of them. So
yeah. We're just really excited to continue this community in that way and be able to have you guys there's no silly question out there. We want to hear it all. We want to answer it. We promise you we've been there. So we want to be that support system for you through this Facebook group. So please join. We would love to see you on there and celebrate you and your accomplishments.
Yep.
I'm definitely joining.
Yes.
Join tonight.
Yes.
Yeah.
So before we jump into the Q&A, I just want to thank you guys again for sharing your unique stories about becoming an influencer and how you use your influence, not only in the Curves community, but beyond. And I think we can all agree that with more influencers joining the community, the more opportunity to reach, connect with, and inspire one another is present.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So let's jump into some Q&As. So our first one, I'm sure you've been asked this thousands of times, how to get more followers. Curious to know how you are able to retain them.
I will kick this one off. I think that posting consistently is so important. Collaborating with others, post at your best times, utilize your analytics. But more importantly, beyond that is something that I mentioned before. I felt like, you know, I've been blogging for a really long time, but only until recently, like the recent 2 years, have I really been like opening up and sharing everything. Like, and I feel like not doing that was holding me back, because sharing my story, even the parts that are embarrassing, like spoke at a conference with a friend and this past summer, and I got so sick. I was so nauseous because my body was in so much pain that I actually like got sick in the bathroom like an hour before we were supposed to go on stage. And instead of like letting that thing that I couldn't control my whole day, ruin my whole day, like I was there with my friend Carly, I'm like, let's go home. Like, I can't do this. And she's like, no, she's like, you're doing it and you're getting on stage. And so I think sometimes letting go of your own insecurities and the things that you hold on to is going to open you up to more people. Don't be the person that you think everybody wants you to see online. Be yourself and highlight the things that make you special and unique.
Absolutely. Yeah, and just to kind of like feed off of that, I think with being yourself, you create a really authentic community of people who are just there to cheer you on.
Yeah.
You know, people in your community truly become your like online BFFs. Even though you've never met them, you start to really gain a like love for these people that you see every day, and you're watching their lives and you want them to succeed. So sharing and being, you know, honest allows people in, and then they want to stay. So I think that, you know, when it comes to retention, you know, these aren't just numbers, it's just people. It's just being human. And I think that when you're human, people want to stick around because it's something that they can relate to.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think you could have, like, someone else could have 100,000 followers, but you could have 1,000 followers, but yours are so much more engaging and more, they're not to sound like The Bachelor, but they're there for the right reason, and it's not the number, and they really do, they're there because they care about you and you equally care about them. And it's that kind of realness that also keeps me wanting to do what I do. And I know these girls feel the same way. It's like we connect with our communities that we've built online, and it feels like you guys are all our friends. So thanks for joining today, and thanks for always being there with each post and comments and all that. And when we respond, we truly mean it. So thank y'all.
And I think for me, you know, vulnerability, which is what I think that you were hinting at, Candice, is just, for me, because my platform is just kind of like, you know, I'm a pocket full of sunshine, that becomes a very difficult thing for me to do, right? When I'm like sad or mad, sharing those types of things are like something that I still kind of have to practice doing. But at the end of the day, I think too, like that's what makes my platform authentically me too, right? You know, people do come to my platform for something that's more positive, and they do like that. Not to say that they don't know that I'm not sad and that I don't cry and that, you know, I don't get frustrated. But I think it's just, again, playing to that, you know, your true authentic self, like, which is what really helps resonate with your audience. And, you know, I think that's what's really important.
Fantastic. So this next question is pretty timely. How has the scope of influencing changed these last few months, especially in light of this pandemic? And how do you stay inspired while staying inside?
I'll start. So I actually used to travel a ton. Like my husband and I love to travel, so we really weren't home like at any weekend like at a time. Like either I was on a vlogger trip or I was, I was meeting up with these gals or I was somewhere exploring another like city, state, country. So when COVID happened and it grounded us, I was like, well, golly, what am I going to do here at the house? Like, we don't even, like, we just sleep here during the week and then we just leave. So I started doing a whole bunch of DIY stuff. So what have I done? I've stenciled my back patio, which turned out like really great. It took a really long time. I don't know if I'd recommend
It looks so good.
it looks smashing. I think it looks really good. Right now I'm doing a whole bunch of like home reno stuff, like repainting cabinets and like refinishing furniture. And I'm just getting into all kinds of stuff that's crafty. And I don't know. I mean, I've been liking it. I don't know that like I would have done that outside of, being forced to do so, kind of occupy my time in another way. But I think also it's created a good, like my audience really likes it. Like I'm repainting my cabinets right now, y'all. And I have so many DMs like, when are you going to give us a cabinet update? Like y'all don't ask about this dress as much as y'all asked about
cabinet's coming.
When are you going to give the cabinet update?
Yeah, like,
But really, because
I guess later tomorrow. They put a pain in my butt is what the update is. But I think like just being able to kind of pivot too. I mean, I think it's kind of forced me to pivot into like a DIY type, I don't know, not necessarily a DIY account, but it's kind of, because we're all multifaceted people and we all are made up of a lot of different things. So DIY stuff is something that I like to do, and I'm glad that I'm able to share that on my platform recently.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of the beauty of, what we do as content creators is it kind of the flexibility to like try on new hats, right? Like, am I good at this? Do I like this? And then we find new passions, and I think that's really cool. I've loved watching your journey with the DIY stuff, Candice. I've learned so much.
Yeah,
I'm here
agree.
to make all the mistakes for you.
We're learning through you. It's fine. I totally agree. I think we're able to not only discover new passions, but uncover passions we've had for a while, and things that like you may just know the four of us as like fashion and travel bloggers, but really it's like so many of us have other passions like each of you. There are more interests hidden under this. Like it's not just like I wear a cute dress. It's like I wear this and I love reading and I want to share with you this new book club Kendall and I are in, and like we're so excited about it, right? So I feel like with this pandemic, as much negative that has obviously come from it, I think there's a positive outlook that we can all have in that like we get more reflection time to ourselves and with our friends, and realizing that the conversations we have and the things we're doing mean a lot. So where do we want to spend our hours each day? So I think that's a really cool way of like us as content creators are able to share that.
Yeah, I think that we have also like really pushed outside of our boundaries. Like we, in the beginning and still now, like people aren't comfortable doing photo shoots. So we tried out Facebook or FaceTime photo shoots for the first time. Like none of us had ever done one. And we just were like, hey, let's try it. Let's do it. Like just to like keep being creative, maybe not in the way that we, were before, but now it's just so different. And in terms of making money, like pitching companies now is super, super important, because I don't know about you guys, but like my emails sure have slowed down for collaborations while brands and stuff, they're figuring out like how to navigate all of this. There was like a period there where it kind of slumped, and I feel like I've been pitching more brands, and that's how I've been getting my paid partnerships now. And that's different than what it was before COVID too.
Such good insight. So this next question is still in the spirit of community. Who is one curvy influencer who each of you look to for inspiration?
Ooh, I've got one. I've got a million. But lately I've got actually two top of mind. Girl with Curves, Tanisha, she's amazing. I look to her for fashion. She's so honest and genuine, and she is so active in the curvy community. I just really love her vibrant and genuine self. Like, I love going to her page. It always makes me smile. And then also Musings of a Curvy Lady. She's gorgeous. And her style, honestly, she's similar to my size. So I love going to her page and looking at her latest fashion, because honestly, like, if I could dress like her every day, I'd be a happy woman. She's gorgeous. But yeah, so those are two top of mind. I could go on, but I'll let girls talk.
I love that. I totally agree. I feel like as soon as I say a name, we're gonna be like, oh yeah, I love her.
Yeah.
One of my favorites, I've always really looked up to Alex Michael May. I think she's just like, the content she creates is so editorial and fashionable and amazing, but even more so each and each day she gets more vulnerable and real about like her meditation practices and just everything she's doing. I worked on a project with her, I think last year, and she was just as sweet and genuine and friendly as you would think she is online. And just getting that, again, we talked about this like at New York Fashion Week or anywhere, you could meet somebody and then it just like falls flat with like, well, I thought she was this way or him or whoever, right? So just getting to meet somebody you feel like you knew online and then meeting them in person and them being just as real and authentic is just a breath of fresh air, which is kind of sad in the opposite direction. But I think when it happens, it's just like a click, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for me, I'm going to be a number 2 here and get sentimental. But
surprise.
I would say the first plus size blogger that like I really felt a connection to was Stefani. And this was before we even knew each other. I remember finding her and feeling like,
cry, Kendall.
This is what I do. This is what number 2s do. And I'm going to bear it all. And I don't care who's watching. I'm going to scream it from the rooftops.
Give it to me, honey. But
she was the first person that I found online where, like, when I would read her writing, it felt like it was coming from my heart. Like, I feel like we have very similar hearts. I think that's like the easiest way to put it. And now that I know her, like now as a friend, knowing her and knowing how hard she works for this community, how much time she puts in, when she gets off work and she's tired and she's still out there doing the work, that inspires me. And being able to just have these girls in my corner every day, like Anabeth dresses so freaking colorfully that my whole closet is a rainbow now. Like, I'm influenced by her. The other day I got dressed and I looked in the mirror and I was like, I look just like Candice, with like a cute little headband. Like, so I feel like they inspire me every day. They inspire my style choices. But the first person that I really, really looked up to and connected with was Steph.
I love you so much.
Don't you dare cry. Like, don't you dare do this to me.
I love you.
I know.
Oh, Candice,
I'll round it out.
Yeah.
I feel like my personal favorite, because we have like a very similar styles, is Rochelle from Beauty Curve.
Yeah.
I absolutely love her style. We probably buy a lot of the same clothing.
Yeah.
We're big into like luxury items too. So like, I feel like just our style in general is very similar. And she's super sweet. Like, I had to meet her last year. She's super sweet in person too. So yeah, she would probably be my fave. She's my fave one.
Yeah, and she's a keynote speaker at RS The Con. So yeah, that was just announced, I think.
Dang.
Our girl.
This next one is from Danny. Do you have any suggestions about how to collaborate with other influencers? What could that collaboration look like, and how is the best way to approach another influencer that you may not know?
Oh.
Yeah, I'll take this one, and I think I might be reading everyone's minds here. But we have really loved, especially during quarantine, doing videos together. So we'll do styling videos, and it's so fun. Like, Kendall had the idea of, I don't know how this is going to happen, but I want to do some like how to style a rocker tee or a band tee. And then we made it happen, and it was so much fun. We collaborate with like 10 to 15 girls at a time. The more the merrier. Yeah. We always want to do videos with new and diverse people. So message us, DM us if you're interested in that. I think that's like you know, that was the first thing that came to mind, but you ladies can definitely chime in on how else you think. I think just don't be afraid to slide into people's DMs and message them or comment.
Slide right in like a slip and slide. Just go right in there.
That's how Kendall and I connected, was DMs. I think that's a really, you know, amazing resource. It's not just for like creepy men, it's for us. Like, we need to utilize that with each other. And you guys know what I'm talking about with those.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
They have no shame.
I got sugar daddies waiting for me all day, y'all.
Yeah. But like, you should, you know, be just as confident sliding into someone's DMs, just saying like, hey, like, you know, I would really love to collaborate with you. Like, I think, you know, it's a huge compliment when someone reaches out to you. So it shouldn't be scary. Like, you know, people, most of the time, I would say 90% of the time, would welcome you with open arms. So
yeah, and think about it, like, they don't know what they don't know. So we don't know that you guys want to collaborate with us or with your friends or the people you follow. So you need to take that initiative when you can.
Yeah. And I think not to be, you know, intimidated by someone's numbers as well. Like, I think that you see a follower count and you're like, oh my God, she's never going to collaborate with me. Like, she's people, like, she's not, you know, I'm not like going to be, you know, whatever enough or whatever the case may be. And that's just definitely not true. Mm-hmm. I also think that, you know, if someone says no, that doesn't mean that it's no forever. It just means that maybe it's no right now. Like, maybe, you know, you have to realize that like our content calendars are planned out, like our, you know, sponsorships and things that collaborations that we have going on are also like, you know, you don't get to see any of that behind the scenes. So like if someone, even me, when I reach out to someone, if they can't do it, it's like, okay, cool. Like, I'll just ask the next person. Like, it's just a numbers game. Like, and I think the most important thing is to just kind of keep putting yourself out there, you know, being open, you know, one, to rejection, but two, also to, you know, collaborating with some amazing people.
Right. We met, I mean, just through quarantine, I know the four of us, we've like connected with so many other women.
Videos.
Yeah. And we'll DM people and they'll say no, and it'll hurt for a second. Yeah. And then you just got to move right past it. Brush right past it.
But on that, some people say yes, and I'm so pleasantly surprised that they said yes. So, I mean, it's just one of those like, well, this person said no, but this person said yes, and that's super cool.
Yeah, you're on a level playing field with anyone you want to reach out to, so you're not, you know, any less than them. And if they decide not to, it's really their loss, and you just move forward. And their loss is someone else's gain. So,
you're here. Well, on that note, I think we'll wrap up. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us. And if you'd like to learn more about LIKEtoKNOW.it and how you too can make influencing a viable career, visit rewardstyle.com/apply. And someone from the LIKEtoKNOW.it team will be in touch with you.
Or the Facebook group.
Oh, and yes, join the Facebook group.
Thank you all so much for coming.
Thank you all so much for coming. We love you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.